Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C, and this is Charlton Big C Sports. We call it Real Talk every Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide on Charlton Big C Sports. Also, today is a very special day. It is Memorial Day, May 30th, 2016. I want to really say, for the $1 Million Show, we want to thank the millions of people who have fought and given their lives in honor of our freedom. We know nothing that you want comes easy, and we have so many things today, Big C, because of our veterans. So if you see a veteran, just at least let them know thank you, and that's always important, and we want to pay homage to that, Big C.
Well, the price of freedom and opportunity in America, Charlton, has come with a tremendous price that not many people today, especially young people, can respect and understand. When you go back and we think about it, even starting with the Civil War, Charlton, in America, where there was a fight for injustice. Then we had World War I, we had World War II, we had the Korean War, and also the infamous Vietnam War, Charlton.
Yeah.
But we have many surviving veterans, some that came unscathed, but many of those who were wounded. And people only think that a veteran was wounded by the physical scars. The mental scars, Charlton, are just as painful and devastating as all those others. But these men and women gave great sacrifice for their country.
Yeah.
You know, we look at people, you know, we spoke about Donald Trump the other day when he's, you know, the upheaval that he is trying to create in separation in America. Now, this was a man who had 6 deferments during the Vietnam era, Charlton. So when he talk about he wants to honor veterans and respects veterans, here was a guy who skated around the draft better than Wayne Gretzky skated around the hockey rink during his hockey career.
Yeah, that's true.
Not to make light of the situation, but when I look at Donald Trump in this Memorial Day weekend, Charlton, and how he has talked about he's honored and respect the veterans, he has to look in the mirror and say, is he being honest? Because he didn't want to be one of them, Charlton, and he's blasted people like Senator John McCain, who was a war hero, who was captured and spent many years in prison in Vietnam because he didn't want to be released because his fellow soldiers were being held captive. And he felt that close and that much respect for them, that he didn't feel that he deserved any better treatment than them.
Yeah.
When I look at somebody who's running for president like Donald Trump and the disrespect that he has displayed for those veterans of the past and trying now to run on the coattails of the veterans now, Charlton, he's not the one who respects Memorial Day, Charlton.
Yeah.
It's those veterans who have served and the people who respect them, their families, their friends. Those are the people that we look up to in America.
And there's so many of them out there. And because there are a lot of wounded war veterans out there, we want to make sure that just acknowledge them. And in fact, I want to open up today's show by saying BeneathHisWingsFoundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast, it's secure. They help support a lot of veteran activities. Also by CYNN Entertainment. Contact Cynthia Evans when it comes to promotion and marketing. She's the best in Northern California. And let them know that Charlton and Big C secure. So all the people out there enjoying this great freedom that we have as Americans, thank you so much. And let's appreciate everything we have here as Americans. And also, Big C, I want to thank you to our Latin American audience, so bienvenidos to you. And I want to also pay homage to one of the great actors, because we know that acting and sports, it goes together. I actually saw Jamie Foxx. He was on ESPN with some of the other counterparts, some of the great broadcasters they have over there, Big C, and he was actually telling some scores. But in the last Rocky movie, there's a boxer by the name of Tony Bellew, and he actually played in the fight in the movie. He actually beat Ricky Conlan, who played Creed. So we looked at how boxing and acting goes together. Here's a guy that had finally won a championship. He's 27-2-1 with 17 knockouts, and I really didn't know who he was before the fight. He actually won over Adonis Johnson, the son of Apollo Creed, in the movie. I know movies and acting and sports goes together, but here's a real actor and a real boxer that played in a Hollywood movie, Big C. So that's how you always acknowledge blending Hollywood with acting. They really happen, Big C.
Well, Charlton, if you look at the Rocky series throughout its history, you know, and its inaugural movie when you had Carl Weathers
Oh, yeah.
Former NFL linebacker with the Oakland Raiders, who had turned into acting. You move on down the list. Your buddy Hulk Hogan.
I love Hulk Hogan.
Your running buddy. He played in a Rocky movie. I think it was Rocky 3. He played in that movie along with Mr. T, who had played in the movie. And so when you look up and down the list of Rocky's performers over the decade, it shows the parallel where athletics have come into the arena of acting, Charlton. And we've seen so much of this over the years. If you go back to the movie Raging Bull with Robert De Niro,
oh yeah,
who played Jake LaMotta.
Great movie.
Great movie. This man did such a transformation with his body because he had to gain some 50 pounds during the shooting of this movie, Charlton. But the portrayal that he did of Jake LaMotta, and they shot that movie in black and white. It was an excellent, Oscar-nominated movie. But, it's just how life is. Athletes want to be next to actors, but I think actors revere athletes more. Because, you think about it. How many people can be a professional athlete? Anybody can get behind a camera and play a role, and we've seen many athletes cross over. But how many people can go out and play at the highest level? There's very few people, Charlton. So they are revered from both sides. The ultimate respect is given between those two professions.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I want to say this segment is also sponsored by Bud Light. We know a lot of people are out there drinking and celebrating the holidays, but please, please, please do not drink and drive. I know a lot of people that think they just had one or two drinks, but there's just too much riding on the line. So please don't drink and drive. If someone's drinking, please don't let them drive, and take the keys and do what you can. And also, Big C, speaking of taking the keys, this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. You can only get it there brand new, and when you go down and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, we just got finished with a great race, the Indianapolis 500, the 100th running. And I'm telling you, when you talk about cars and cars that have a lot of horsepower, here are guys running 200 plus miles per hour around the track. And as you say, Big C, they only make left lanes or left lane turns. But can you imagine the type of speed that you have when you have the Indianapolis 500? And it was run by an upstart guy by the name of Rossi. Okay, Alexander Rossi. He's actually out of Northern California, Nevada City. So just a lot of credit to the racers, and just your thoughts on seeing such a phenomenal event, Big C.
Well, Charlton, when you think about Rossi and you talk about having a competitive edge in professional sports, Rossi's only been in IndyCar racing for 3 months.
Yeah, he's 24 years old.
You think about that. He's 24 years old. He's only been an IndyCar driver for 3 months, and he's been on the European circuit driving Formula One cars. Now, when you think about a guy coming out who is fearless, he's 24 years old, he's taking chances that veteran drivers wouldn't have taken. But when you talk about turning laps at 225 miles an hour on average, running a straightaway at 230, 235, that's just, uncanny. I think about when I was young, and if you get a car up to 150 miles an hour, you were shivering. Well, these guys, the ultimate respect for these Indy drivers and Rossi, congratulations to him for winning his inaugural Indy 500. But there was over 300,000 fans, Charlton, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the old Brickyard.
And that's amazing.
An American festival.
Yeah.
When you think about it, we talked about the Kentucky Derby about a month ago, and they had, 147,000?
Yeah.
All the adults showed up at Indianapolis, so when you got something that's turning left all the time, doing 200 miles an hour, and Bud Light is pouring everywhere out of the spigot, the moonshine is out there in the infield.
Yeah, that's true.
You can run the cars off the moonshine, Joe.
Well, I hear a lot of guys have actually tried that in the past. I wouldn't really recommend it, but you probably know more about that than I do, Big
Well, that's why we call it white lightning, because it will spark anything, Charles.
I understand, but just seeing cars that can drive that fast, and of course, we're not condoning anyone to go out and drive that way, but when you have the skills to do it, and just the sound of those engines is so impressive. And I really appreciate the pit crews. We talked about Mario Andretti. I think AJ Fort, he's the one who actually gave him the hand, the wave sign to get the race started. So that was impressive, paying respect to him.
He's a former racer and owner, Charlton. But you know, when you talk about the Indianapolis 500 and those streamlined race cars that they have, every safety measure has been taken to try to ensure the safety of these drivers. Okay, they leave nothing to chance when it comes down to taking care of the drivers in the Indianapolis 500, from the fire suits to the safety cages that sit inside the car. They're custom fit, so only that driver can actually fit in that cockpit.
Yeah.
You know, the fire retention material that they have around, because these cars run off ethanol. And so when they're on fire, if they catch fire, you don't see the flames burning. You see the original burst, but you don't see the flames burning. But they take every safety precaution for the health and safety of these drivers, Charles.
Yeah, that's important too, Big C, because we take so much for granted. Again, every time you get behind the wheel of a car, you're talking about cars that weigh between 3,000 and 5,000 pounds. So we really encourage everyone, especially for this great holiday weekend, go out and have a lot of fun, but no drinking and driving. If you know someone that you care about, if you see them drinking, just take away the keys. Now, for the Indianapolis 500, the rookie winners, Alexander Rossi, 2016 Big C. What a great race he had. But you go back to 2001, there was Helio Castroneves. 2000, Juan Pablo Montoya. In 1966, there was Graham Hill. In 1927, George Saunders. 1926, Frank Lockhart. And there was Renee Thomas in 1914. In 1913, Jules Go. In 1911, Ray Harlan. Now, that was an inaugural race back in 1911. So they've been running this race for over time, and they've had several younger winners that we call rookies, but that just shows
100 years of the Indianapolis 500, Charles. 100 years. This was the 100th race.
Yeah, and amazing too, because as you talk about, cars have gotten safer, and they tend to get a lot faster, Big C. And so just congratulations to Rossi. The only bad thing about that, I think they only handed out one jug of milk, Big C. That's not fair when you have 300,000 people hanging around. One jug of milk, Big C?
Well, you know, I looked at that, Charlton, and they bring it out in a glass jug, which takes me back to my childhood. I remember as a kid when the milkman would come by, you know, Charlton, he had a metal cage, got out of his truck, had his half gallons of milk in these glass jars. It had a little paper tab on the top of it. But that's how we got our milk delivered when in my youth. You know, I was when I was young, in my youth. Well, you know, it takes you back as an older American when you see the Indianapolis 500. That bit of Americana still exists in the heartland of America.
Yeah, and speaking of the heartland of America, when I was a kid, I used to go out and get my milk from the cow. We didn't have grocery stores. When we were told to go out and get some milk, the cows knew. They started moving, moo, because they knew I was coming out there, Big C. But also, when you think about the technology, and we talk about cows and how everybody's drinking, you know, this is something that's kind of serious, because you set these cars run on ethanol. So when they catch fire, you really can't see when it's burning. So just congratulations to all the pit crews and all the people that work so hard behind the scenes to make it safe. And as we look at a different sport, Big C, in the UFC 199, on Saturday at 7 p.m., their main card is going to be at the LA Forum. Now, you know they're building a new NFL arena down for the LA Rams down in Inglewood. But in the main event, they have the middleweight championship. His name is Luke Rockhold. He's fighting Michael Bisping. Now, the bantamweight fight would be Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber. Now, I've seen Uriah Faber appear in Northern California at several MMA fights. And on TV, I thought he was a lot bigger, but he's about 5'7", maybe 135 pounds. But he is rock solid. And this guy's had a great career. And he's fighting right now, but he's pretty much coming up on the end of his career. He's 37 years old, Big C. And so when you talk about the toughness of guys like Mike Tyson over the years, or Leon Spinks, or Muhammad Ali, Faber didn't have their size. But for someone that's a small guy in stature, he definitely packs a punch. But he's coming to the end of his career, Big C. Have you grabbed hold of MMA yet? Because Mayweather's talking about fighting again. And I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but just what's your thoughts on that boxing event, Big C?
Well, you know, Charlton, I've watched MMA for years, and I've looked at these men in the ring, the grappling and the boxing, the kicking that they go through.
Yeah.
And you talk about the ultimate warriors. When you can hit somebody with an elbow in the face, you can kick them in the face, you can choke them out. That's real tough.
And we're not just talking SEC football. You're talking about in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get former SEC players if you need MMA fighters, because that's the only place you're going to find people that's tough. I mean, these are guys, when you talk about a barroom brawl, it's all there, Charlton. They use everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
But it is an exciting, exhilarating sport from the fans' perspective. You know, boxing has lost its glory in America and really around the world, because other than 2 or 3 fighters, we as the world, we don't know who the champions are in the weight division. No one knows who the heavyweight champion is. Floyd Mayweather is the most notable boxer of all, Charlton, probably followed by Manny Pacquiao, the man that he's beat.
Well, we know he's the richest fighter so far, Big C. So that means he's the smartest also.
MMA, every event is a sellout, and it's a sport that is attractive to youth in Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, if you go back to, say, the WWE, back in the mid and late 80s, the electrifying it had, how it captivated America from an entertainment perspective, and you had so many big name guys right in, right out that had their fanfare. When we look at what the MMA has done now, it has rejuvenated excitement in the small arena back, other than a basketball game in America, really throughout the world. We see it here, but it's even bigger in Europe and Asia, Charlton, than what it is here in America, because it's been over there for decades.
Yeah,
so we're now gaining and learning what the world has known about the MMA, is that it is a battle-tested event.
Well, I tell you, it's a great sport. If you ever think like you want to be tough, and most guys, especially athletes, there are times when you just want to feel tough. You think you can beat people, right? If you really think you're tough, get into the ring with one of these MMA guys, and you realize it's better to say please and thank you as opposed to get out of my way, Big C. And speaking of please and thank you, in the golf tournament over the week, you had Jordan Spieth. He reflected after winning at the Dean DeLuca Invitational, and he's had a great young start, just a young man, and finally got a chance to win another tournament. Your thoughts on Spieth, kind of getting his swing back, Big C? I know a lot of people thought that maybe he was partying too much. I think Eddie Murphy had a song called Party All the Time. I think that's what Spieth was doing, Big C. Was he hanging out with Eddie Murphy's song?
When you're 22, 23 years old, Charlton, and you've won a couple of majors, and you have several $1 million in your pocket, why shouldn't you have a little bit of fun? And Jordan Spieth, this is what we talk about, and this is the industry that we're in.
Yeah.
We're part of the media that covers it, and a lot of time they're covering the wrong part of what an event should be covered. I mean, someone's social life, and we see how it tore down Tiger Woods' career, that, everybody wanted to talk about his social life. Let's talk about the events. It's sort of like what we were talking about yesterday with analytics.
Yeah.
Analytics has always been around. Somebody from Harvard changed the word from analyst to analytics.
Yeah.
It's always been the same thing. There's always been game analysts, whether it was basketball, baseball, football. You always had these analysts breaking down the game. Now, since it's gone into a broadcast booth, it's analytics. But when you look at an athlete perform, it's about what he does. That's what we appreciate. I appreciate watching the pure performance. It's like you have Game 7 tonight between Oklahoma City and Golden State. Oh, by the way, did your pom-pom I hope I had the right answer.
Not only did
they'll be ready for a tip-off tonight, so you can sit there and go on your little skirt and shake your pom-poms.
Yeah, definitely.
I've taken some gold and yellow ones, so, you'll feel right.
Hey, well, not only did the pom-poms show up, Big C, thank you for that gold-flavored moonshine, because I think a lot of the Golden State Warriors, I think Klay Thompson found some extra shine in his basket. I think one of the analysts on TV said they should call Klay Thompson catch and release, because he doesn't need to dribble to knock down threes. But we'll cover that in a little bit. And this segment also is covered by your Northern California BMW dealers, home of the ultimate driving machine. Go down a test drive from the 1 Series all the way up to the powerful 600 horsepower M7, also known as the 760 Li. And when you test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, also, Big C, I know because we talk so much about all the sports, Lord Stanley's Cup, we know no teams from Canada are playing tonight, but the San Jose Sharks, they're also over in Pittsburgh, and they're playing the Penguins, and that's expected to be a very strong matchup. The Penguins have actually won 3 Lord Stanley Cups in their history. This might be the Sharks' chance to get their first one, but they're going to have to do it as the road team, Big C. Your thoughts on that coming up?
Well, Well, we know sharks don't do well out of water, Charlton. That's not much, you got the Three Rivers running to Pittsburgh, so it may give them a little bit of a chance.
That's true.
When you look at the experience, Charlton, the San Jose Sharks only have one player on their roster with Stanley Cup experience.
Yeah.
So, you got to give the edge to Pittsburgh in this scenario, because this is a game and a series of a lot of emotion and experience, Charlton, and it plays well when you get into a championship run.
Yeah.
You look at it in all sports. The teams who constantly repeat, who get back to that level of the championship series, they have veterans who've been there before, so they're not awestruck.
Yeah.
And, this is the inaugural championship series for the Sharks. Great. They've been in the NHL since 92-93. And it's great to see a California team in the series.
California love.
And a first-time participant.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting an exciting series, but Pittsburgh has a couple superstars, Charlton, such as Crosby, who has been there before. So they know how to prep their teammates. They know how to play for this moment. And I think, San Jose might be a little bit overwhelmed in Game 1. They can settle down in Game 2, but I think Game 1 they may just be a little overwhelmed from being in the Cup for the first time.
Well, Sullivan, he's the manager of the Penguins. Largely, he's credited his team with just playing solid hockey, and they're 33-16-5 to finish the regular season. Now, they were not expected to outdo the Rangers, Washington Capitals, or Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs, but they found a way to get it done. But the Sharks, their first time being there's so much energy in the Bay Area, Big C, so no matter who wins that, usually the home team gets a chance to get the advantage in the upper hand. But if you can steal Game 1, then they have a better chance to turn that series around. Now, also, Big C, something that I want to bring up because everybody's talking about it in the last segment of our program today is if you don't like NBA basketball, you need to watch playoff basketball, because unlike baseball, and baseball's a great game too, and I love watching the game, but it's just a little bit too long of a season in a sense, Big C. But 82 games regular season for NBA basketball, and you have the Golden State Warriors, the best record in the history of the NBA, 73-9. And also, speaking of the best, this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California Ford dealer, home of the all-new F-150. They build it Ford Tough. When you go down and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. But Big C, some interesting stats on Durant. He was 10 of 31. Okay, Russell Westbrook had 4 turnovers in the last minute, 40 seconds. And OKC turned the ball over 6 times in the last 3 minutes of that game in OKC. Your thoughts on that? I think my pom-poms and my moonshine was working, Big C.
Well, I think you just went into your analytics, so.
That's working too.
That's what you young people like to do, go into the analytics.
Yeah.
What you have to look at is down the stretch is Golden State outplayed OKC.
Yeah.
And what I look at in this series, Charlton, is that we really have not seen Steph Curry yet.
Yeah.
When you think about it, he hasn't had that breakout game. Steph is always due for at least a 40-point game in a series.
Yeah.
We have not seen that yet. He has not shot the way that you expect. But, when you look at Durant, only shooting about 35, 36% from the floor the other night. And Westbrook, his aggressiveness will cause him to have turnovers.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
He plays so aggressive, Dalton.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't have the turnovers, everybody looks at him as the second or third best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
But there's nights when these things are going to happen, and you spoke about it in our last show that you saw this going 7 games, and that's what it's gotten. So your pom-poms will be working OT tonight.
It's not the pom-poms. It was the moonshine that really made me clear my mind. And once my mind was clear, it just kind of popped into my subconscious mind, Big C. 7 games.
but overall, we talked about that. The officials allowed this to get to 7 games. And there were some situations where there was some questionable and suspect calls and non-calls.
Questionable, Big C. OKC has gone to the free throw line over 30 times more in this series, okay? 30 times more in this series. Look it up. That's analytics.
Well, but you still got to knock them down, Charles. You can go to the free throw line and you can get 2 shots.
Yeah.
When you're opposing team and you got Klay Thompson and he knocks down 13 threes, Charlton.
Yeah.
That right there is 39 points.
Yeah.
So you can go to the free throw line 30 times. Klay Thompson knocks down 39 points and threes. You still behind.
Well, Klay Thompson, 41 points in this game. He's actually 11 3-pointers in the playoffs, which was an NBA record. And Curry was 29, 10, and 9. So 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, just one off of a triple-double. But what I really see as the king for this game is the Coach Kerr, because he realized he didn't have to keep playing small against big guys. If you have a big lineup and everyone's averaging around 7 feet or even 6'10", and you're playing guys that are in there about 6'3" to 6'5", obviously it's going to be hard to get the rebounds. But when he brings in with Barnes, who can also shoot threes, they have Bogut, who's a big guy, Iguodala, who can even guard big guys, but most beats he's played well, and Azili. I think he's starting to use his big guys on big, and you know that Curry and Thompson, they're going to shoot threes, so you got to let those guys do what they do, but don't try to play small ball against a big team. And I think Kerr, he earned Coach of the Year, Big C, in the last 3 games. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, Coach of the Year is almost like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
You know, what does a coach do? I mean, you're putting players in and out of the lineup, but it comes down to who wants to play defense and who wants to
I could be Coach of the Year if I had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Iguodala, Draymond Green.
You look at Golden State's lineup, Kerr was only the second best coach on that team this year.
Yeah.
Luke Walton had a better record than what Steve Kerr did, but Steve Kerr was the head coach and coach a record, you know, for the season. But, you know, it comes down to the players. You know, can they perform? Mark Jackson built this team.
Yeah.
I take this team back to, you know, another team that played across the parking lot, the Oakland Raiders some years ago.
There it is. Yep, just win, baby.
When you had John Gruden walk in and inherit a team that had been built by Shanahan.
Yeah,
and then he left there and inherited an even better team.
Tony Dungy's team.
Tony Dungy's team in Tampa Bay. So, you know, in that same year, both of those teams were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, you know, Bill Callahan had that team take them to the Super Bowl because it had already been built.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing you had with Steve Kerr, not to take anything away from Kerr because he was a championship player as well as a championship head coach.
Yeah.
But when you walk into great situations, and you see that every now and then in sports, because you can take a great coach who's had a history of winning, put him in a situation and he can't win.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I mean, the great Phil Jackson we saw in L.A. about a decade ago when he came out of retirement.
Yeah.
He came into the Lakers. He couldn't rejuvenate a nothing franchise just because he had an old, aging superstar.
That's very true, Big C. That's very true.
So it's not always the coach. They got to get the credit for a team winning, but you got to look at the performance because how many championship coaches have been fired, Charlton?
Yeah, that's true.
What was the difference in them when they got fired versus when they were a championship coach?
Oftentimes they didn't have a guy like Steph Curry or Klay Thompson when they get fired. Even though you're right, you brought it up too because Jackson, I mean, he does the commentating, and I know even though he must think as a man, hey, well, I'm still doing okay in life. But it has to kind of hurt a little bit when you saw that these are the same players that you helped build and you helped coach, and then when they got ready to compete at a higher level, they bring somebody else in. But that's personality-wise, just didn't get along with the ownership. I guess the ownership didn't like someone who helped them win 50 games. But it could have been him. It could have been anybody in that place because once you let the players play, the players determine who wins on the court, and it's always been that way, Big C. But in the last few minutes of the program, I just want to say this segment is sponsored by United Labor and also $100,000 guaranteed life insurance with no insurance or medical questions, and also Goosehead PNC, the top leaders in property and casualty insurance. Let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. And also one more sponsor we're bringing on, One Life America Insurance. I'm an insurance broker for One Life America Life Insurance. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports to get a free quote. Now, Big C, in the final few minutes of the program, I just want to ask you this question because I know this is what basketball is. This is what we're supposed to see. I remember Magic Johnson saying he wanted 7 games when they played the Celtics back when he and Larry Bird were going at it. What's your thoughts as someone who's been following the sports for over 40 years? And I'm hearing even guys like Stephen A. Smith saying how long he's been covering NBA. He said just 20 years. And I think one of his partners said 40 years as a writer and editor, etc. I forgot his name, though. Billis, I think is his name, but maybe I'm wrong on it. Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless. Yeah, so I think there's still some of your moonshine, Big C, because I never heard them say that in the history. But just your thoughts on this game coming up tonight, what you can expect with OKC and Golden State going on to the finals to face Cleveland, Big C. Your thoughts?
You know, from a fan perspective, Charlton, it's the greatest thing to see a 7-game series.
Yeah.
But from a player's perspective, you want to see it end in 6 or less. You really like to see it end in 4.
Yeah.
Because not only do you want to get your rest, but you don't want to have to worry about a player being injured. someone having an off night, and all of a sudden they're the game go. We talked about it in the last game with OKC, when we talked about Durant only shooting about 35% from the floor, Westbrook with 4 turnovers in the last couple of minutes of the game.
Yeah.
That's what happens when the series get long, Charlton.
Yeah.
Mistakes are made, and teams able to creep back into the series.
Yeah.
So as a player, you like something to end as quick as possible. You could equate a 7-game series to boxing. You know, when Mike Tyson was at his peak back in the 80s, Charlton, everybody knew that Mike was going to knock somebody out.
Or eat you. He was going to eat you or knock you out. You had one of those two choices. Holyfield chose to be eaten, but some of the other guys chose to be knocked out, Big C.
You know, so it wasn't about, you know, the longevity of the fight. It was about getting it over quickly.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at trying to win a championship, you want to win that as expeditiously as possible.
Yeah.
You don't want to just linger around. We saw that, I believe it was 3 years ago with San Antonio and Miami.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden Ray Allen hits this shot, when the game should have been over. The
Jesus Shuttlesworth. Yeah. Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yeah. The game 7.
Yeah.
Miami won the series where, you know, San Antonio should have had it in 6. That's what happens when you stretch out a series. So it's great from a fan perspective, but it's nerve-rattling from a player's perspective.
Well, let me ask you this question, and it may not even be a popular question, because we believe that no one cheats in sports, right, Big C? We believe that Las Vegas,
you said what?
No one cheats in sports.
You said it's the law of averages?
It's a law of averages, and we know that nobody cheats in sports. Nobody tries to get the upper hand, Big C.
Let me clarify that for you, Charlton, okay? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Okay.
Now go ahead.
Well, let me answer this question then, because I'm a cynic, and I know you like to do, because you read a lot more than I do, Big C. Maybe you can look at more of the facts. But I think Adam Silver and the people who understand the ratings, like the advertisers, I think in the audience, the way they're glued to the TV screens, I think it's more compelling to have LeBron James trying to go for an NBA championship against a 2-time NBA MVP, Steph Curry, the first unanimous MVP in Steph Curry. There's still some talk in Cleveland that LeBron's the best player in the game. Now, what builds more TV anxiety? To have someone who's been anointed the king versus someone who's kind of considered, well, he's just a new kid on the block. But Steph Curry's a bad boy. He's set the world on fire, hitting 402 three-point baskets. Never been done in the history of the game. I think that's more compelling to see Curry and King. Well, I'll call him LeBron James, but I think that makes more sense for Adam Silver and Las Vegas, Big C. That's why I'm picking Golden State tonight in Game 7. Your thoughts?
It makes fanfare for everyone, Charlton, when you think about it. You have the reigning MVP who is and you also have the self-acclaimed greatest player in the game.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron's a tremendous player.
He's amazing.
Athlete.
Amazing.
You know, but he's as great a player as he is, he's also just as good a whiner and crier, Charlton. Because someone of his athletic paralysis should never have to open his mouth and cry about somebody fouling him as brutal as he is on the court.
Yo, he's a football player.
He plays bully ball.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have the outside shot of a Steph Curry. He has the inside game that will peril anybody in the league.
Yeah.
But when you talk about great fanfare, great father for television, for writers, that's what they all yearn for.
Yeah.
OKC makes it, you know, it's like, look at it from this perspective, Charlton. Have you seen the skyline of Oklahoma City?
I've seen one tall building, Big C.
Okay.
One tall building.
You got one tall building in Oklahoma City. So when you, and not that Cleveland is the largest city in America, but it's been a great fan city in America.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about the history of the Cleveland Browns, you think about the history of the Cleveland Indians, these two organizations in professional sports have been forerunners, especially with African-American athletes. You think about the great Jim Brown. You think about the great Larry Doby, who played with the Cleveland, Indians in Major League Baseball back in the 50s. So, they've been a city that's been desperate since the 60s to win a championship. They've had LeBron, who left and won a couple in Miami, but he's come back home. He grew up in Akron, 45 minutes away from Cleveland. He's that hometown boy that they want to bring ultimate prize back to the city of his lineage.
Well,
So this is great for the NBA. It's great for sports. Every sports broadcaster in Ryan Carlton, if Golden State and Cleveland make it to the finals, don't have to do anything. The story's already told.
That's
it's
true.
already told. And that's what they want. Now, if OKC makes it, Now they have to work.
Yeah.
And they're going to be lost.
Yeah.
Because who do they compare to who? Even though Durant's a great player, it still would be LeBron series.
Yeah, I still think, Big C, that you're not going to see Durant and OKC next year, but it's just my thoughts. And you may even see the great LeBron James picking up his airline ticket and letting them burn his jerseys for the second time. But no matter what happens, I want to wish everyone a very happy Memorial Day weekend and hope that you can say hi to any veteran out there. Let them know you appreciate them. And also, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you have a super fantastic day.